Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And this week we come to you to talk about things we wish would die.
Yeah, they should.
Death.
End.
Murder. Murder least foul. Murder. See,
I
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about 10 haunted house trends that we think should end. But if that doesn't sound like what you want to listen to right now, I do understand. Check us out at hauntweekly.com or hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, youtube.com/hauntweekly, and wherever you get your podcast from. We have literally 428 other episodes. I'm sure you can find something that more fits the mood if you don't want to talk about killing things. But then again, if you don't talk about killing things, are you really a haunter? Really? I mean, probably. But anyways, alright, so first thing this week, we have no housekeeping that I can discern. Work we did for the haunt, we have still been ill.
Yeah, and I hurt my hand again yesterday. You know, fucking cats. That's all I'm on. Fucking cats. They just, ate up my hands.
Yeah, and they specifically ate up the finger that had been like the focal point of your hand injury.
Exactly.
So we went from, yay, we're going to work in the haunt, and the weather's actually been great. I've been kind of wanting to get out there, but as you noted, your hand is, you're sitting here right now typing on your laptop as you get ready for the next segment with your hand like wrapped.
Yeah.
Multiple bandages. But between...
Yeah, it wasn't just a little...
No.
A little scratch.
No, you got mauled. Mauled pretty good, unfortunately. And luckily, nothing seems to be permanent or lasting from it. But yeah, the last time we tried to put the fucking flea medicine on that son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do about that. So.
You know, it's funny. We used to apply flea medicine once a month to a 80-pound German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
Never had an issue.
Nope.
All you had to do was find a little way to distract him, get him looking somewhere else, and boop, bop, done.
Yeah.
Never a problem. Once a month, never a scratch, never a nip, never a complaint. He was just happy he got a treat.
Yeah.
These cats, fuck you. They might be 1/4 the size, but they are pure knives.
Yes, they have knives for fingers.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, it has been a frustrating weekend. Even though it has been a long weekend, it has been a frustrating one. That happened Saturday, didn't it?
Yesterday.
Oh, it was Sunday. Okay, it was Sunday.
Yeah.
We're recording on Monday, so yeah, it happened on Sunday. Just been a bucket of frustration as we've been trying to get things done.
Yeah, Saturday we weren't feeling well.
Yeah. And we had obligations, and
yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Mind you, they ended up being pretty good obligations, but we had obligations, so
yes.
we could not plan on doing anything.
Haunt family time.
Yeah, well, I guess that is what we did do for our haunt, is we did spend some time with the haunt family and celebrate one of our actors' birthdays.
Yep, and talk to them about their costume a little bit.
Yeah, and make some plans and things like that, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may be switching up an actor role or two based upon that conversation. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, most weeks we ask you a question of the week. And last week, because we were sick, and like I said, we've still been sick, but we asked you, what's your self-soothing ritual for when you were sick? And man, y'all had some good answers.
Yes, you did.
Christian Risto said tea, as much sleep as possible, and in extreme cases, Mucinex.
Yeah. Or ZQ?
I have no idea what that is.
I don't either.
ZQU. We should probably look that up.
Yeah, that sounds like something we need.
All right.
Haunt Hype said sleep and more sleep.
And
I totally agree.
That's been our thing, and that's one of the reasons. Because we've been dealing with it. I mean, I've been dealing with it for like the past 6 weeks or so. And I don't know if it's the flu. I don't know. Well, it's not COVID. I didn't test positive for COVID. But something, whatever it is, has been giving me extreme fatigue. And has been making it basically impossible to be active more than a couple hours at a time.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really frustrating. Victorella is tea with honey, light snacks, and most importantly, a Harry Potter marathon.
I agree with a marathon, and tea and honey is actually what my dad used to do. It made me take a really hot shower when I was little, get under the covers. I know you're not supposed to do this anymore. And tea with honey as I was sitting there relaxing.
Well, the logic is there, though. I mean, you run a fever to fight it, so why not elevate your body temperature further?
Yeah, but that's not the logic anymore.
No, that's not the logic anymore. I can understand it, though.
But yeah.
I mean, you're just lucky you didn't get whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't in our house.
No, that was not in your house. But other houses, it would have included whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was the original recipe. Anyway, Daniel Barnett. New name for us, I think.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of sickness, but my default is green tea with chicken noodle soup wrapped up in a blanket and playing reruns of Price is Right and Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, yeah.
She'll let you read this one.
Yeah, no, I'm the MST3K hound.
Yeah. Bonus is freeze pops if I remember to stop.
Yeah, I will say this. We've started keeping Pedialyte freeze pops stocked.
Yeah.
That is great if you have any kind of dehydration or stomach issue. They're wonderful for keeping you together.
Yeah. And I will say that when I'm sick is the only time that I like chicken noodle soup. The rest of the time, I don't like it.
Yeah, but reruns at Price is Right. That takes me back to when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because it used to be, it's like, you're sick and you're 10-year-old. What are you watching? You're watching Price is Right, Judge Judy.
Yeah.
What else was there? It was
that other court show.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, People's Court, Matlock, those things.
And of course, whatever soap operas you happen to be able to stand.
Yes. We were kids when those were in reruns. Shows. So now you can date us quick, You
can age us very, very quickly now.
We've set our
Scott Masso says, I don't think it's self-soothing, but I fully submerge. It is self-soothing, trust me. Submerge in as a hot and deep of a bath as I can stay until the water cools. The forced fever tends to burn the bug out faster. I just like the idea of a hot bath in general. That just sounds great overall.
Yeah. Amanda Hughes said, blackberry tea, lots of floofy blankets, and a heating pad, and just garbage fire TV shows.
I gotta say, she lists the Jersey Shore there.
Yeah.
If you put the Jersey Shore on in the room I'm in, I might start feeling good enough to go turn the TV off.
That's funny. But yeah.
Just get up and hit the... I get it. I mean, I do understand the power of garbage TV. Something you don't have to actually pay attention to is wonderful.
I always look for those to put on in the background.
But see, this is why I do MST3K so much whenever I'm feeling ill, because I don't have to pay attention to it. The movies are bad. They're meant to be bad.
Yeah.
We'll send them cheesy movies, the worst that we can find. La la la. But no, it's like you don't have to pay attention. You can just close your eyes and let the jokes roll over you if you want.
Yeah, exactly. And, I love the bot segments and, but lately we have found that if I am having trouble sleeping, that is what we put on.
Riff Tracks has been really good there because there's no bot segments. You're not trying to stay awake.
I'm not trying to stay awake to see it, so it's just the over...
Yeah, just the jokes and the movies. And yeah, it is wonderful and soothing to fall asleep to. I don't think that is and not only $6 a year, $6 a month for the Friends subscription. That's one of the cheaper streaming services.
Yeah,
we've definitely gotten our mileage out of it. Mm-hmm. Sam Farrell says a regimen of NyQuil, ibuprofen, and emergency, along with hot, salty broth, ginger ale, and/or Sprite, and some comfort TV like The Office or 30 Rock. Once again, anything that you've seen before and can just tune out.
Yeah,
that's great. That is. Honestly, at this point, I'm wondering if I should do Star Trek. Yeah. Because I've rewatched all of the Star Trek that exists, Star Trek TV that exist.
Yeah.
Between the original series and today. And I've watched them fairly recently. I'm wondering if I should just do that because I've seen it all now. I can now confirm I have seen every episode of Star Trek that ever exists.
Yeah. And finally, Joseph Bradley said, soft kitty. I'm sorry, Joseph, but after yesterday, fuck that cat.
Fuck that cat, yeah. Well, and that's not the soft kitty anyway. That's the angry outside kitty.
I know.
Because we have two kitties, and they're from the same litter.
Uh-huh.
And they, at the first blush, they look identical, because they're both white cats.
Yeah.
So at first blush, but one weighs like 8 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a walking skeleton, and it has food. But it decided when it got here it wanted to be an indoor-outdoor cat. And I know, don't let your cat be an outdoor cat. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the cat.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to keep a cat inside that wants to be an indoor-outdoor cat?
That doesn't work.
It does not work. We failed at every turn. There was just no achieving that. We tried. We put in a value, and the other one is basically Hedonism Bot from Futurama, but in feline form.
Yeah.
Basically, it wants us to lay there to ask us to feed it catnip.
Yeah.
And,
If she could, she would.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, we have, they're from the same litter, but they could not be more different in terms of how they, anyways. But moving on to this week's question of the week, pertinent to this week's episode. What is a trend in the haunt industry you want to see end? What would you put on this list? Let us know. HauntOnWeekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and YouTube.com/HauntWeekly. Leave a comment. Send us an email. Get those comments in any way that you can. I will be very, very interested to see what you would put on this list. What did we miss, basically? I know we missed stuff.
Yeah, I know we
did.
missed some big stuff, even.
I know.
Okay, so the notes were written in like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And we had trouble coming up with something.
And we realized we had not done this exact topic before.
Yeah.
And so we started working on it together and basically just started shouting ideas at each other from across the room while you took notes.
So that we could go to sleep.
And honestly, you would be amazed how many episodes of Haunt Weekly are written exactly like that.
Either that way or in a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're lucky we weren't drunk at 3 a.m. doing this. We were actually sober.
Yeah.
So be happy it was a sober note. But yes, anyway, so odd week, we're not doing comment reminders.
Right.
But on that note, let's start out with our first thing we wish would die, the use of unoriginal characters, full stop.
Yeah. I'm already sick of seeing the public domain mice.
And
The
public
horror-
domain yellow bear.
Bears. Yes. I mean, come on.
I get it. Okay, there is a sense of joy that these characters are in the public domain and are free to use.
And you want to ruin people's childhood. I totally understand that. But haunts are already kind of designed for that.
Yeah. See, here's the thing that gets me. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's did not use any characters at all from a third party. All the characters were created by its creator.
Yeah.
But yet it was able to ape things that we all knew. It played off of it, but created a new universe in the process.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I have mad respect for what they did.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, they managed to ape the Showbiz Pizza / Chuck E. Cheese. It was Showbiz when I was growing up, y'all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that... We recently saw a mini doc or
Yeah,
something on
John
that.
Oliver did it.
Yeah. That's right. Like, we watched so many things.
Yeah, John Oliver did it and explained why we remember Showbiz Pizza, but it's Chuck E. Cheese now.
Yeah, well, and in the area of Texas I was in, it was Pistol Pete's.
Oh, good God. I've never even seen a Pistol Pete, so...
I showed you a commercial, but
yeah,
yes,
you did show me a commercial.
It
That's right.
basically mimicked it, and the commercials they're worth checking out.
Well, that was the thing that was so
So bad.
impressive about, like, when John Oliver did it, but also other things we've seen on it, was that, like, Chuck E. Cheese found an iota of success. Not even, like, huge success. It just sort of found some success, and everyone in the planet went, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
And eventually, Showbiz Pizza, the one I remember, bought Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild. But anyway, we're kind of sick of seeing all these public domain characters. And honestly, we talk all the time about how you shouldn't use copyright or trademark characters from other sources because it's just a matter of time before we start getting cease and desist letters and lawsuits. Because right now, the only reason Disney, Universal, all those companies aren't suing us is because we're too small to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
But if this industry grows, if this industry expands, which is what we want, eventually we're going to be big enough to warrant that type of legal action.
Yeah, well, and I especially wonder about the haunts that are using their property as movie sets, like they rent out for movies to be shot there, how they're not getting dinged in some way.
Yeah, I don't
But
know, honestly. That has bothered me too.
Inspired by is great. Exact replicas are close as you can get it. They're impressive. Don't get me wrong. They're impressive.
There's a fine line between being inspired by and cosplay.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, being inspired by that's Five Nights at Freddy's. Clearly inspired by Chuck E. Cheese, Showbiz Pizza, all that stuff, but not a cosplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, tread that line. So yeah, I would like to see unoriginal characters, even if those characters are not copyright infringing. I want to see unoriginal characters go away. Come on, what can we do? What's our creativity?
Yeah.
All right, next up.
All right, the LED panel photos, projections, and cheesy graphics.
Oh.
Like, so the LED panels, when they first came out, were really cool. They were never a great distraction. They worked better as a distraction and a scare, but every time I saw them in haunts, people tried to use them as the scare. And they just weren't, that's not their purpose.
No.
They are decoration, Yeah. And I wish that people would understand that.
Well, what gets me about them constantly is how expensive they are. We looked into them for ourselves at one point, and you learn that these are incredibly expensive. Especially if you get them new. You can get secondhand ones, obviously, at a greatly reduced price. But for the price that you pay for a single LED panel or the moving picture or whatever, you could build something, very substantial, very significant in that space. You could do something with it.
Yeah.
And that's just not how they're used. Like you said, they tend to be used as scares, which when we go through haunts, we like to go through with quote unquote normal people, i.e. not haunters, because I don't know what normal people pop or react to. I'm not a normal person. I've never been a normal person. I have no concept especially like today's youths, what they do.
Well, all I can think of is as ready normal people.
Ready?
Sorry.
The internet is for okay.
Anyway,
but point being, I don't know what they react to. Every time I've gone through a haunt with quote unquote normal people, they never reacted to this.
No.
It's always been, oh, that's interesting. And the thing about it for me is like, are you Disney?
Yeah.
If you're not Disney, you're not going to have the quality and the, powerfulness of this effect that Disney has. I've seen, now, the one haunt I will say I saw this as an exception, where I saw this done well, was the projections at Netherworld.
Yeah.
Where they did the Haunted Forest, the year we were there.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was wonderful effect, and it was used as a distraction.
Yeah, well, so it was a distraction, but it was also scene setting.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be a scare, and maybe that's what I really mean.
Yeah, and you compare this to like when we went to the darkness, and you would literally walk into a dark room, and there's one of these moving portraits, and that's the room.
Yeah.
Or two of these portraits side by side, and that's your room.
Yeah.
That was just so frustrating.
A hallway full of them, and I wanted one of them to be a drop panel, and obviously you can't because they're fucking expensive, but it's just, that kind of mentality of these are scary on their own. They're not.
Yeah, we spent $1,000 on these or whatever, so we need to make goddamn sure they look at them type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Netherworld, like I said, used it as scene setting. It was a distraction. It was something to get you to look up, look around you, make the room feel bigger. That's one thing. And so I guess what we're against is it being used poorly more than just...
And that's pretty much all of these.
Yeah, I mean, I think there, for a lot of these, some of these we're going to come to, I don't think there's any time to use them.
Yeah, like unoriginal characters, no.
And the next one also, I would argue there's not a good time for them ever. But this one, you can use it, but you really have to fucking justify it to me.
Yeah, because even you did use a projection once. Exactly once. We put it on a disappearing wall, and it was a great distract for the wall, because it was on the wall that disappeared.
Yeah.
The problem with it was, since there was this bright light coming through the fabric, the actor on the other side couldn't see the people.
Yeah. It was a neat idea. It was one of our better ideas, but poor in practice moments.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say. And we've never done another projection since, because we don't have the budget to do it right.
Yeah.
And especially to do it right and put it as just scene setting. Because like you said, like we said, these are expensive, so the temptation is make sure everyone spends as long with these as possible.
Yeah.
Even if it's not particularly scary or interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next item. This has become a renewed interest for us lately. Blinking lights, in particular strobes. Now, I've been on the warpath against strobes in general for a long time. I've long
we
said
both have.
I don't like strobes.
No.
And this is because I don't. I find them aggravating and annoying. I don't find them scary. I don't find them interesting.
No, and to me, it is something I was introduced to as a child in a kids' haunted experience from 1980s.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It doesn't it's a cheap way to do a lighting effect, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I've never liked it. I've always found it annoying. I've never found it scary. I've never found it entertaining or fun. So I've always hated strobes. But recently, we went through a couple of haunts with a friend of ours who has extreme photosensitivity. Mm-hmm. And we got a pretty hard lesson on what it is like for them to go through a haunted attraction.
Yeah, and why they don't go to haunted attractions. Like, there is a certain percentage of the population, I don't know what it is because I didn't look it up, but they just avoid haunted attractions altogether because they know that they will use blinking lights. And this isn't even just strobes.
Yeah.
This is like the shorting out lights.
Yeah, like the short circuit lights and things like that. And one thing about her that was interesting was we've always put this in context of seizures.
Yeah.
Photosensitive epilepsy is a thing. Roughly something like 0.5% of the population have it from some degree. Last I checked, it was a small percentage, but a large enough one that if you have a random sampling of humanity come through your haunt, you're going to incur it, type thing.
Yeah.
But she's not epileptic.
Mm-hmm. She
just gets super nauseated.
Yeah.
It makes her want to throw up. And it was so bad. Like, I did not realize how serious it was for her. When we showed up at the 13th gate, and this is not the 13th gate's fault, but a street light a block or two away from the 13th gate was shorting out.
Yeah.
It was literally just shorting out. And it was just blinking. It was annoying, but whatever. It's a street light doing shit streetlights do.
Yeah.
We had to get her around that.
Yeah.
Was how serious it was. It's rough. And so, yeah, these prevent people from enjoying your haunt and don't really add much to the people who can view it. Mm-hmm. And as you noted in the show notes, you can do a lot with lighting using dim colored lamps or direct source lighting. Yeah. There are ways that you can light it to make it creepy and interesting that don't require blinking lights.
Yeah. And I would say if you wanted a lamp that has that short out bulb, put it away from the walkway where it's you can see it in the distance, but you don't have to get close to it.
And one thing that I think could work also is have it come behind them.
Yeah. Because
that way they're not staring at it too. They see the aftermath of it. They see what it lights, but that's less of an impact than the bulb itself.
Yeah. But I mean, I've been to haunts now that use only organic lighting. That's what I'm going to call it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Things that you would see in a regular hospital.
The room has a lamp.
Yeah, the room has a lamp.
The ceiling has a fluorescent looking bulb in it.
Yeah, exactly. I've been through haunts like that, and in addition to our own, obviously. And those are much more effective at scene setting.
Yeah.
Because you're obvious that you're in a place that could exist in real life. Once you start going over the top with it, it takes you out of it.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
All right. Tropes.
We've actually talked about this a lot. But
yes, we have an whole episode on tropes.
So we won't go into it too deep.
No. Basically entire clown sections where they don't make sense. If your haunt is not clown themed, don't put clowns in it randomly just because you think it's cool. Chainsaws, if they don't add to the story, if you're not, in a place where chainsaws make sense, I just
You know, there've been the number of times I've had this conversation with a haunt owner. I'm like, hey, why'd you have a chainsaw guy in that random room?
yeah,
Whatever. Go, well, we had to have a chainsaw guy somewhere.
yeah.
No, you don't.
I'm like,
There's zero obligation.
so if there's like a few places that I think that it could work, because I've seen multiple haunts with forest scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You could put a chainsaw guy in a forest. That makes sense.
Yeah. And if you want to actually, once again, inspired by not cosplay, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you can make that work.
Yeah.
Like a human butcher scene type thing. That could theoretically work. But just randomly in room 5B on the third hallway,
Yeah.
right after the hospital scene, no.
And like we've said, we have seen chainsaws done well a couple of times. Just like we've seen clowns done well a couple of times, where that was the entire theme of the entire house. You know, we're not saying don't use them, just saying use them where it makes sense and use them smart. Like the anticipation of the guy who was working on the chainsaw and couldn't get it started.
Quote unquote, couldn't get it started. He was obviously faking it, but it was awesome.
Yeah. That worked really well.
Yeah, that worked well. I really liked in Evil Intentions the year we went, the use of the classic chainsaw room, but in the middle of the haunt.
Yeah.
So that way when they got flushed out, you go, oh shit.
It's still going.
I need an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, because that flips your brain's expectations.
Yeah.
Because everybody puts... Okay, not everybody, but like 95% put them at the end to flush customers out. And
whether or not it makes sense cosmetically, thematically at that section.
Or safely,
yeah.
Because there's been multiple reports that we've done where people have been, hit by cars because they ran
the last person who actually died, that was a customer who actually died in a haunted house, died after being flushed out of a haunted house and chased by a chainsaw guy into the road.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was the last person who died that I can recall died from that. Yeah. So, yeah, basically, once again, this may not need to die. This may be an exaggeration, but I would say 90+% of it needs to go away.
Yeah.
All right. This one definitely needs to fully fucking die already. Inaccessible haunts. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to give a small pass here for trail haunts and things where you're dealing with nature.
Yeah.
But then again, I think of Waterloo.
Yeah, which was completely accessible.
It was a 1 mile, 2 mile fucking trail haunt.
Yeah, it was really long.
In southern Illinois, done for, it's a quote unquote charity haunt in that they're supporting the sportsman club. They're supporting themselves, but it's it's weird. But anyways, it's functionally a charity haunt. Mm-hmm. And they did a banger job with the whole haunt. They've been there like 40 years.
Yeah.
But the important thing was the entire trail was lit and accessible by anyone. Mm-hmm. I would have felt perfectly comfortable on that trail in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Totally comfortable. So I say that, but I'm willing to give some pass here for haunts that nature kind of screws them. I get that a little bit.
Yeah.
But you need a comfortable way around. But what gets me is in the year of our Lord, 2024, with the ADA in effect, there are still way too many haunts that are not accessible to all people, regardless of physical disabilities.
Yeah, and the other thing is that with the trail haunts, even though I give a pass, if you have not cleared out your trail, even for, people without mobility issues, that's not good. Because then I'm just worried about the shit in the way.
Yeah, the number of trail haunts that tried to put me in a wheelchair having me fall on my ass.
Yeah.
That's way too high of a number.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I definitely think that haunts should be making a greater effort toward accessibility, not only because it's legally required, but because it's the right thing to do. I mean, haunting should be accessible and enjoyable by everyone.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
All right, next up.
This is one of those that also just needs to die. Haunts that are offensive. Intentionally.
To be edgy or hardcore or whatever.
Because every once in a while, you're going to step into something and offend somebody. I get that.
Yeah.
But don't do it intentionally. Don't advertise that you're having a specific night just for the publicity, the negative publicity.
Yeah, we're obviously thinking of one haunt that we will not name in this.
And I haven't seen a
thing about them in a
thing
while.
about them in a while, so I don't know if they're still doing it. Hopefully not, but
regardless, I haven't heard about them in a couple of seasons, I think.
yeah.
But anyway, we've seen advertisements and things from other haunts where they've been edgy and trying to be, and part of that is trying to be offensive, basically.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if you have to be offensive to be scary, then you're not scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit like that. That to me is a bit like trying to play on people's phobias.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to capitalize on people's pre-existing phobias to be scary, you're not scary. Mm-hmm. You're relying on people to bring their own fear with them.
Yeah.
You know, you're not bringing it to them.
Yeah.
You're just using what they walked in with. That's bullshit. You're supposed to be the fear delivery service.
Yeah. And I mean, we apparently had stepped into this last year, and we didn't mean to anything. We didn't mean to pull on cultural trauma, but it feels like that we did, so we're not doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if we did or didn't, but no one has said decisively that we did.
Yeah.
We became worried about it after reading news stories that were related to it.
Yeah.
And I think worried for reason, to be clear. I'm not saying we're pulling this out of our ass.
No.
No one said anything.
No.
Not that they would. But we're not going to do that again. We're going to find another way around it. And there are other things that we can do.
I've already got
ideas already been kicked around. We're good. That's an easy swap out for us, basically. But yeah, it's one thing to accidentally step into it. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen to the best of us. That's going to happen to everyone, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
The thing for us, is the haunts that are doing it deliberately. And they're not very many, I will admit. No. I don't think most haunts do this. I don't think a lot of haunts do this. But there are enough haunts that do this that the industry, because that's the problem with an industry like the haunted attraction industry, is that we are going to get painted based upon our loudest and most, attention-grabbing members.
Yeah.
And so haunts that intentionally are offensive and intentionally are edgy are going to get a disproportionate amount of headlines. Mm-hmm. And that's going to tar and feather the whole industry, regardless of how fair that is.
Yeah.
So honestly, that one, this is one where we're not really talking about something the whole industry's doing, I think. But dear God, it's enough of the industry that we're getting painted with it.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing there. Okay, this is one that's been driving me personally crazy for a while, especially as someone who likes to plan haunt trips and haunt visits. Unpredictable haunt pricing. Mm-hmm. Now, every year, just to tell the tale, we try to plan a trip where we go on somewhere afield and visit a bunch of haunts. And what I usually try to do, set up a budget, try to pick a bunch of haunts, plan the timetable. And Japes is sitting there somewhere, I can tell, going, do you use Excel? Do you use Excel? Yes, we use Excel and Google Maps. We're hardcore like that. They call me the king of the spreadsheets. I got them all printed out on my bed sheets.
Yes.
That's Japes is the king of the spreadsheets. I'm just bowing before the actual king of the spreadsheets. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is a lot of haunts have moved to this variable pricing system, which can make it impossible to actually plan trips and to budget for them. Mm-hmm. Where they will have different prices for different days, and sometimes different prices for when you book it. If you book it way out early, you can get one price. But and the thing is, like, I understand specials. Like, every year, New Orleans Nightmare does a special where they'll sell tickets for like $13, $14 a piece, whatever. Really great deal. But you got to be on their email newsletter. You got to be watching your email box in like August, and you got to jump on it like in like the 5 minutes they're on sale. And I'm fine with that because that's not a general offering. Like, that's a special offering for people that are on the email newsletter, recurring customers, etc., etc., etc. I'm talking more about like what Eastern State Pen has done, where you go to their site and try to figure out how much is a ticket, and you need a fucking chart.
Yeah. Well, and also locally, New Orleans Nightmare does this, where different days are different prices, and it's very difficult to charge.
And on one hand, I understand the reasoning and the logic.
Mm-hmm.
The reasoning and logic is simple. We get way too many people on Halloween weekend and the weekend before, Halloween night and the weekend before, and not enough people, September, early October.
Yeah.
And so what they try to do is create price variability to encourage people to come earlier. I want to see a study that shows if that works.
Yeah.
Because I doubt it.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that function works.
So you think they're leaving money on the table?
I don't think necessarily they're leaving money on the table, because I think they're charging way more to the bigger crowds. I think they might actually be making more money off of it. But they are making it so that people who want to come by and are trying to actually plan their trips. And admittedly, this is something that maybe only affects me and people like us. Mm-hmm. Because we do plan our trips. The reason I don't think it works is because I have a suspicion, and I bet if we did research on this, we'd bear this out. Most haunt ticket purchases and haunt visits are fairly spontaneous.
Yeah. Well, and the other so I am better with it being variable. All of this weekend is this price.
Yeah.
What I don't like is when Thursday is a wildly different price.
Yeah.
From Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, like you go Thursday, it's $20. You go Saturday, it's $45.
Yeah, as a person who consumes haunts,
you can't consumer you.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate that a lot, but it does make it difficult to know which day to go.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to work to cut crowds much, though, just because I think that, like I said, most haunt visits are fairly spontaneous. Mm-hmm. If they are planned, they're probably not planned like weeks out. They're probably planned a day or two. Hey, you want to go see whatever tomorrow? Like that. I think it's more that style of planning than it is, hey, okay, on September 15th in 2024, we're going to go to, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem, and this variable pricing really requires that type of planning to be more common. And the other issue I have that's kind of connected with this is when you have all these hidden upcharges, whether it's online service fees, which I've railed on before. Mm-hmm. I hate the fact that so many servers are like, hey, we're free to you. We'll pass the cost on to the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? If those customers abandon their carts because of the upcharge they get mad about, it comes out of your pocket.
Yeah.
That you got to think of it that way. There's opportunity cost here too, basically. So you got to worry about that. But the other issue, but things like parking.
Yeah.
Parking's not an option. Your haunt is in the middle of fucking nowhere. I have to drive there.
Yeah.
I can't take the goddamn bus. There's no shuttle service.
Most of the time.
You know what I mean? And that's always frustrating. It's like, oh, yeah, it's $5 to park.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I find this whole thing to be irritating and very anti-consumer at the end of the day. Moving on. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Haunts that are just the haunt.
Oh my God, yes.
And this is something that, we've changed our mind on recently. And it's going to if people listen to this one, it's going to totally fuck up our planning for, haunt visits.
Yes.
Because if it's just the haunt, we can get in and out like everybody else really fast. We go, we see the show, we leave.
We take some notes on the way to the next haunt. Bam!
But we like haunts, and we want y'all to stay around. So we need things to do afterwards.
Yeah.
Ways to spend money at your haunt. In addition to...
money and time.
Yeah, money and time. So, food vendors, fairs... things other than just a merch booth.
I was very sad when Necropolis 13 closed.
Yeah.
At the 13th gate. I was very sad because I did like Necropolis 13. I love the actor playground haunt. And they've taken some of it and moved it into the 13th Gate itself. But anyway, I do think from a standpoint of making the 13th Gate an event, what they did was a good move. Because now you have a fair, you have carnival games, you have food vendors, you can get
a photo
booth thing, VR. You have all these other things that you can do and spend time at and money. Rooms. Yeah. And I think that in the end is a great idea. And I think it's done a great job, helping make it more of a whole evening thing. Because here's the problem. If I'm going to spend, we'll say, it doesn't matter if it's longer than 30 minutes for me to get there.
Yeah.
And that's not an atypical drive or trip to a haunted house, for the record.
No.
If I spend more than that, and all I do is wait in line for 30 to 45 minutes, and then go through your 20-minute haunt, and then leave.
Yeah.
How is that a good investment of my time? Forget money. How is that a good investment of my time? And so what I think 13th Gate did is make it so that you go through the haunt, spend 30 minutes going through the haunt, whatever, and then you go across the street and you can easily kill an hour fucking around with all the stuff there.
Yeah. In fact, I think last year when we went, we spent
more time at the carnival. Yeah, I think you're right.
Because we took photos at every single little photo op thing.
Yeah, and that photo op thing was a really cool idea too.
Yeah, I loved that. And we usually buy some merch, get some food, sit down, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah, now they have a nice little picnic type area too out there. So basically, I think we killed longer at that, and that made it feel, because for us, 13th Gate is about 90 minutes away.
Yeah, and Rise is doing the same thing. They're building out also.
Yeah, they're not. They have multiple attractions now. They have the 3 attractions, and they also have, as you just noted, the food vendors, the mini escape rooms.
Yeah, they built a big pavilion, so it's a really nice area to sit down and get a meal, and they have not just fair food. They have like
food, yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a really nice merch /
gift shop.
Gift shop, yeah. So yeah, this has been a trend we've been seeing improving, but basically, if your haunted house is just the haunt and then people leave immediately after they're done with it, maybe now's the time to start thinking about how to change that and capture that audience for a little bit longer so they spend more time and more money there.
Yeah.
Number 9, too many women in victim roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put this one in, but I totally back you on it.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is getting better. Yeah. I'm going to say that. It is getting better, but too many times I see women as the cooks, and usually not men, and women as the help me girls, as, lovingly referred to. And it's just... It's time for that to stop.
Well, and the thing is, the haunted attraction industry, our main goal is to play and twist people's expectations. Okay, there's an expectation here that the woman or the little girl or whatever is going to be in the victim role.
Yeah.
We can fuck with that.
Exactly.
Holy shit. It is so creepy to see a huge ass guy on a slab being... And then it's like a tiny little girl. You know what I mean? Like some tiny little woman being the murderer. Like, how did she overpower him? Doesn't matter. I'm getting out of here. I'm not finding out.
Yeah. Or even just, playing a victim, and maybe we should do a whole episode. I don't know if we could get it out of it or not, but like I don't like being forced into a victim role.
No.
But I do enjoy playing them. But that comes with a lot of caveats.
Yeah.
But just interviewing women and saying, okay, you're a woman, you're obviously going to be a victim.
Yeah. You've got to play to the strengths of the actor, not...
Yeah. Exactly.
Not the strength of the quote unquote strength of the gender or whatever,
Yeah, I still need to fix the coding in that spreadsheet so I can share it out.
Yeah. But but that's just it. But as an industry, we're supposed to be messing with people's expectations.
Mm-hmm.
This is an excellent opportunity to do that. There's an innate expectation based from A, horror movies and horror in general,
Mm-hmm.
B, the haunt industry, and C, just societal norms that women will be the victims in these things. Fuck with that. Use it to your advantage to make people... Like, one of the best scares I've ever seen was when they had a woman on a slab or something, and she was victim role, and then the big bad doctor or whatever came in, and she just flipped the script, took him out, and then came after us.
Yeah.
Just, you know what? That caught me off guard.
Yeah.
That legit caught me off guard.
I think that's the only time we've seen that, too.
Yeah.
And then she got to play both roles.
Yeah. She got to, help me, please let me go. And then, then the doctor comes in and, psych!
Yeah.
I am actually the bad guy!
Yeah.
No, that was really cool, and it really flipped the script for me, and it actually caught me. Because I got in there and I saw her, like, eye roll.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, last one, though. Number 10.
Cultural themes. Basically, if it ain't yours, don't use it. This includes voodoo. That is a religion. If you don't know why it's scary, if it's just scary because it's mysterious or it's been portrayed as scary in, the media, don't use it. Don't do that. Egyptian would be another one that I'm putting in there.
But is anyone actually Egyptian religion?
No. Well, it's not just religion, but it's a cultural thing because it's always the trope of the mummy and the pyramid and the.
Well, honestly, honestly, I would say don't use Egyptian stuff because it's not scary. It's been so over. I don't know if it's cultural appropriation or not because I don't know if it's a culture, but it's not scary. So I just don't use it for that reason.
Yeah,
it's so overdone.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so done to death. I mean, when Brendan Fraser is the poster child of the genre, we got a problem on our hands.
Yeah.
No, not a knock to Brendan Fraser, but he's wonderful. But
I would also put, country folks. I'm not.
Yeah. Redneck / hillbilly.
Yeah.
Use the colloquial.
It's colloquial, but it's also offensive. To them. So, but yeah, I know that people love playing them, but I don't agree with the dumb country people stereotype.
Yeah, and I guess the way to think about it is this, is if it's a stereotype that you are, as in you were born in it, and it is something you can't change.
And you're allowed to make up your own character?
Well,
I know where you're going.
Versus like an occupation, which you can change occupations, you can change jobs.
Yeah.
So I can see why doctors may be upset at the way they're represented in a hospital scene, but you're a doctor by occupation, not by birth.
Yeah.
There's a difference there. It's not your religion, It's not your race, it's not your socioeconomic situation.
Exactly.
This is a choice you have. That is why it's different. Think of it like that. But the whole thing is like you said, I think what you said is this: if the fear is that this person is, a country person, that they are a voodoo priest or whatever, and that's what's supposed to be scary, maybe rethink that.
Yeah. And usually the country people are portrayed as the comic relief in haunts a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I just, lots of people know I grew up in the country. Maybe it's just me that's, looking at it. Because I don't think that I'm, I just don't like it. And I think it needs to go away. Because I don't think it's true. Because I've spent a lot of time in the country.
And the other thing is, if you've spent time around people from the country, the question is, why should I be afraid of you?
Yeah, exactly.
You remind me of my friend Dave from upstate,
Well, usually it is,
You remind me of my dad. You remind me of...
It is more city haunts that use it than rural haunts.
But you get the point I'm saying, though, right? It's like, if you're from there, it's not going to instill fear in you because you've been subjected to it. So why should I be afraid of this country person who's acting silly?
Yeah.
I know people like that.
Yeah.
And none of them have tried to kill me yet. I'm sure some have thought about it, but none have tried.
We know where to hide the bodies. But it's also, in media,
Yeah.
it's often portrayed as the goof, the
dumb one.
the dumb one, they're going to be so overwhelmed by being in the city that they just freak out and don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and think about it this way. If you have to play or be or have a character that's supposed to be stupid or dumb, what accent do you give them?
Yeah.
If your answer is Southern, take a beat and think about why.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
It is.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past 50 minutes with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope that some of these things can die or at least be severely curtailed. Please, though, do check out more Haunt Weekly. We're at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/Haunt Weekly. You can also find us wherever to get your podcast from. Until next time, though, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we'll see you all next week.